Hello and welcome to the very quick introduction to Ecdesign. My name is Richard and today I'm going to show you the very basics on how to use Ecdesign. This will help you get started with your first project. For more in-depth training, we do advise you to go through our free e-learning courses that are available on the website, and also you can find more help online at our YouTube channel. So let's get started. I'm going to simply start a new project here, and I'm going to click on New. Then I'm going to see the project menu, and here I'm going to type in a project name. So let's call this Sample Gym. We'll create a gym facility here. And then location is where the project will be saved, and I'm going to keep that default location, but you can click on the Browse button and select anywhere that you would like to save it on your computer. Then in Ecdesign, you have two different project types. You can create the project from scratch, meaning you just have the grid and you draw the walls and create your facility. But you can also select to import an existing PDF or JPEG drawing, meaning if you receive, for example, a drawing from a customer, you can import that PDF and you can trace it exactly to scale, and by doing so, you get the room structures very fast drawn up in Ecdesign. But for this basic introduction, I'm going to use the empty project option and start from scratch. Then I'm going to go down to the third section here, which is called project settings. And here I'm just going to set the most common information about this layout, about this project. Later on I can customize, of course, for each individual room. But here I go down and select meter or feet, and then I'm going to set what is the most common wall thickness. That is 0.2, meaning 2 decimeters. Then we have the ceiling height, and let's say most of my rooms in this floor plan will have 4 meters, so I'm going to type that in. But like I mentioned, later on we can change in each individual room. You can do tilted ceilings, all of that. Baseboard or floorboard, I'm going to select if I want to show that in every room as a default or not. Then we have the different materials, wallpaper for the walls, ceiling types, and floor types. So you simply click on one of the select buttons, and that will open up a material selector. Here I, for example, can select from different standard floor options. You can also use colors for the walls, the floors, the ceilings. You can upload your own custom images from custom, and that of course we also show in the more advanced tutorials. But I'm just going to select a wood floor, click on the thumbnail and click use. Same thing, we'll do this for the ceiling types as well. Here we have some standard different ceilings. Some of them have lights built into them, but you can also use custom or colors. So let's pick one with just a square ceiling light built in and click use. Now we're ready to start our project, so I'm going to click create project, and we are now in the full view of the 2D interface, which is kind of the heart of the software. You will be doing most of your planning here. And if we go up to the top left, we have a tab structure here. And think of this as layers. So depending on what you're doing in the project, you need to be standing on one of these tabs. So rooms, that tab is when you're doing something with the room, like creating walls, changing ceiling heights, changing floor types, all of that. Then we have gaps, which is where I go when I want to add doors, windows, openings. Then you have the objects menu, and here we have for each version filled with equipment from different manufacturers. You can also import your own, and that we have a tutorial for as well. And there are also blue libraries where we have generic items that we have uploaded as a company. All right. So for this basic tutorial, we're going to start by creating our first room. So I'm going to click on the room tab up to my left. Then I'm going to go down and click on the draw room button. Move my mouse into the grid. This is the origo point, the 0, 0 marker. I can choose to start there or anywhere else. And to start creating your first wall, you simply left mouse click and start moving your mouse. So I don't have to press down or anything, just left mouse click and then I move. And wherever you would like to stop, left mouse click, move. And as you see here, the mouse or the wall wants to snap to the grid. If you don't want that, you can hold down the shift button and it will move freely. You can also simply type in the preferred distance of a wall. So currently this wall is 2 meters, but I can simply type in, let's type in 8, and up in your top right corner you see it says 8. But nothing happens until I press the enter button. Then I have a wall that's 8 meters and I can continue. So let's move on. And I use my scroll wheel on my mouse to move in or out from the scene. You have red markers showing when 2 walls are parallel. And when we close this first room up, we actually see the floor option that I selected. I can use, as I mentioned, the scroll wheel to zoom in or zoom out, and wherever you place your mouse cursor, that is where you will zoom in or out. If you hold down the right mouse button, you can pan the floor plan as well, up or down, left or right. If I click the 3D button up here, the blue 3D button, that will generate a 3D scene based on what we just drew. And here it is. And this is not a still image. I can actually move in the scene wherever I want. And for information on how to navigate in the scene, you simply click on the question mark here and you get all the different navigation options and also explanations to what the different buttons mean in the top bar here. But we're doing this very, very basic. So I'm going to click on the exit 3D button. Takes us back into the 2D view. And let's add another room. And to do so, you simply click the draw room button again. That turns blue and I can move my mouse wherever I want. So let's start over here. Left mouse click, move, left mouse click, move. And when we close this up, we get a second room. And if you remember from the start, I selected this type of floor to be my default. Also, if I click inside one of these rooms, you'll get a room property menu and you'll see that 4 meters is my current setting, which is also what we decided on in the beginning. And I can click in this room as well. We'll come back to the room property menu a little bit later on. Now, let's say I would like to add just a single wall. You can simply do that as well by clicking the draw room button. And I can start anywhere. I can start inside the room or along a wall. And wherever I would like to stop, I double click. That will then let go and not continue adding more walls. And if we go in here, you'll see that whenever I place my mouse at the end of a wall, I get a blue dot. That's a node. If I hold down my left mouse button, I'm able to move these. Perfect. Okay, let's say I would like to change the floor color in one of these rooms. Well, then I simply click on inside one of the rooms. It turns green, which means it's active. And we see the room property menu again. And here we have the materials. So let's select floor material. And let's add a tile in there. We'll use a gray tile, stone tile. Select. It's still a little bit green because the room is active, but if I click on the outside, we see the tile. If I click again, it turns green. If I want, I can also change the ceiling height. Let's make that ceiling just 3 meters. So now the entire room is 3 meters in ceiling height. And by the way, since we're in the room property menu, I can also show you that we have the square meter because I'm selected meter. 84 square meter for this room, 156 square meter for that room. If I want, I can also go in and change the wall colors for all the walls inside this room. And you do that on selecting the inside material option here. And let's select just a color. Let's make it blue. Or actually, we'll make it a little bit green color. Okay, if we go into 3D again, we'll see that we have made some changes to this layout. And I'm gonna actually fly out a little bit using the controls. And here we see it. The room is starting to take shape. So here we have 3 meters, 4 meters, tile, wood floor, and a different wall color. We'll close the 3D again. And now, before we move on to the gaps, I'm going to also show you that you can change the wall colors individually simply by placing your mouse over a wall, left mouse click, and then instead of room property menu, you see a wall property menu. And here we see the information, 4 meters. So if I wanted to change the height for just this wall, I can do that right there. I see the length, I see the thickness. So let's say I want to make that a little bit thicker. I type in 4 decimeters and that changes. I can select to remove the baseboard. If I want the baseboard, I can set a different height for the baseboard. I can choose to hide the wall, curve the wall, and also here at the bottom, finally, the different materials. And there is an A and a B side. You see that on the wall? So depending on which side you would like to change the material, like a wallpaper or a color, for example, you select that over here. So A side material, and let's use custom, and we'll add just a big photo on that wall. Let's use the surfer right there. Click use. Now we'll go into 3D and I'll show you something. Here we go. This is the image that I selected, but for that image to work on this individual wall, we need to adjust it. And in this menu, up on the toolbar section here, we have a wall setting, edit wall. So I'm going to click on that, move over this wall, click on it, and change its scale. So we're basically adjusting it to this wall. And then I click on the outside and unmark my selection right there. If we select another wall, edit wall, let's pick this one. See, it's green, that means it's active. Select a new material. Then I can go in and simply select the color or another image. And it's going to say, do I want to change all the walls with the current same material? So if I select yes, then we would change the color on all the walls with this white color. But I'm going to say no and just change that individual wall right there. Okay. We'll come back to the 3D a little bit later on. Now we're going to move to gaps, which is the place you go when you want to add doors, windows, openings. And let's start by adding some windows. And here we have 6 different type of windows, and that looks limited, but you can actually change the color and the dimensions of them. So let's select one. And these you don't drag out, you simply click on the thumbnail, double click where you want it to come out. You can move it left or right along this wall, but I can also click again and change its dimensions. So let's say I want that to be 6 meters and I want it to be 2.7 meters in height. That's how easy we change that window. If I double click somewhere else on a wall, it will add the same type of window that I used the last time. And I'm going to use that one, but I'm going to change the dimensions to just 3 meters. I'm going to position it, and the closer you go into the floor plan, the easier it is to position that first window where you want it. You'll see that there's a blue and a black arrow here, and a blue and a black arrow here as well. And that is the duplicate option for gaps. So let's say I want to add multiple windows of the same type at the same distance. Then I simply decide on the distance, 2 decimeters, and which direction I want to copy. And I want to copy downwards, so I'm going to click on the black button, and it's going to start adding windows. And if I don't like the position, I can of course readjust those afterwards. Great. We'll move backwards and we'll add some doors. And here we have different type of doors, which you can change the dimension and texture color on, of course. And you can simply double click to add it. If you want to change the swing, you double click on it and it changes the swing of the door. And then you have the options to change, for instance, the colors or materials. And I'm going to change to an oak door right there. And let's add another one over here. Go into 3D and we see what we have done so far. Here we go. We got the gaps in place and the windows, and I can go into that room and see what it looks like. And in our more in-depth tutorials and e-learning courses, you can of course see that you're going to find out how you can change the ceiling in 3D as well, the floor colors, much more things, but we're keeping it very simple. What I should say here is also, if you're using a computer that's not so powerful, then you can change the real-time 3D settings, meaning all the effects when you're walking in 3D. I have a good computer here, and you can see I can actually see the reflections in the floor, very high detailed 3D, real-time 3D. But I can go up here and click on the star signs and limit some of the effects. I can make it very limited, and that also makes it super fast 3D. You're not going to have the same high quality 3D when walking around, but this is just affecting the real-time 3D, not your finished result. That will always have the highest quality, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. Okay, exit. Now we're going to start by adding some objects. So I'm going to click on the object tab, and I'm running the fitness version here, but this is the same thing for the repair shop version or the interior version. You find the manufacturers in the list, scroll down, and if they are green like this, that means you need to click on the green button to download that assortment. So if you're up to date, then you don't have that green icon next to it, meaning you can use the products from that library. So we'll scroll down here, and they are in alphabetical order. Then you find the product company that you would like to use. Click on the catalog structure, go in and select which product you would like. And then you simply hold down the left mouse button and drag out the object and place it where you would like it to be. You can use the arrows to rotate and place it. Here we have a duplicate option as well. So if I want to make a duplicate with more of this type of treadmill, then I can do that by simply selecting the duplicate option and then click on one of the arrows and place it where I would like it to be. For a number of products, you have the color options as well. So here for this Life Fitness treadmill, I can change the frame. And you do that by clicking on the option that you would like. It's going to ask you if you want to change all the objects of the same line. If I say yes, it will then change. Let's just add, we're not making a real floor plan here. I'm just showing you how it works. So I'm going to drag out and make a couple of copies. We'll take a step backwards, leave the cardio library, and let's add some strength equipment as well. And like I mentioned, I'm not doing a real floor plan here. I'm just showing you how to use the software. If you want, you can rotate just like that. Perfect. Okay, and here you see you have more color options for this, in this case, both frame and upholstery of the product. But we're not going to do the changes here. I'm just going to click on the 3D button and go into 3D. And here we can see how the floor plan begins to take shape. In 3D, we can also make changes to the position or add new equipment. And you do that by going to the Edit option and Edit Objects. And then you click on the object that you want to change and you can move it around. You can use that circle on the floor and rotate the object. And okay, let's change the upholstery as well. Actually, we already had black, but let's choose a black frame so we can change that in 3D as well. If I want to move a number of objects to get at the same time, then I can just make a lasso around the objects, and then I can move them as a group. If I wanted to add objects while I'm in 3D, I can go to the button next to the edit option and simply go down and select whatever it is I would like from the same list. So let's go back to the signature series, plate loaded. And then if I wanted to add a leg machine, I'm just dragging it out into 3D. I can rotate, position, and of course change the color of it. So remember the real-time 3D quality. If you have a slower computer, you can use the star system here and just select faster option, more light 3D. But when I want to save an image, let's say I wanted to create a photo from here, then I click on the photo button. Then I select what type of resolution. So if I wanted a big 4K resolution, I click on that and select the name, sample 3D, and it will instantly create a photo. So this is my photo and it's saved to my computer. I can close. I can also select here to do different type of render options. So if I click on the green button here under presentation options, I have the option to change. For instance, maybe I wanted to do a night render, then we can change that. Maybe I want to if I select a day render and I have windows, then we'll see shadows and sunlight from the windows. Studio is more a simple rendering. And then we have what we call basic rendering, which a lot of people also like because it truly brings out the detail without too many effects. So be sure to test those out. In the presentation menu, you can also add, and we'll move over here and we'll add some daylight. Sky domes. So here we have the render type. Now I go to sky domes. Then I can select 360 images to place on the outside. In our tutorials, we actually show you how you can add your own real images on the outside. But as a quick fix, if you want a sky dome, something to see the outside, simply click the green presentation button and select the different options that you would like. Also, I can choose how to create a walkthrough video, and that is this option right here. And I'm actually not going to show that because we have a separate tutorial for this, so be sure to check that out. Then we have something called Create Automatic Presentation, which is really nice because you can simply allow Ecdesign to create an image presentation for you in PDF format. So you fill out the information that is given to you here, and then you go through the different type of menu. I'm not going to go into too much detail here. Click Create, and it's going to automatically shoot images and create a PDF for you of this floor plan. And you can add your own custom logos, all that type of information as well, even the color of the template. It creates a list of all the equipment if you would like to show that. This is also optional. So that is the presentation, automatic PDF presentation. Then of course we have 360 and virtual reality options and so on that we do cover in our more advanced tutorials. All right. Thank you very much. I think I'm going to stop here, and best of luck with Ecdesign.